Oh, see, now we have the massive sword in the picture.
Yeah, the sort of
That is awesome. What is that from?
it's from what's the movie with Arnold?
Conan?
Conan, yeah. Uh
Nice.
like a huge fan of like all those old movies. Like
Yeah.
we just recently watched it like last Christmas. But he's had that for a while. He got it from a dump sale, like those
Okay.
junk car sales.
Like okay. Yeah, somebody's just like has that on their lawn and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a prop from." That seems like just such a random find in like a gold mine.
Yeah, no, literally. That's our weapon of defense. So if anyone breaks in, get a Conan.
Nice. Uh I mean you're known as the God Queen, so it seems fitting. I got a chance to watch your Taekwondo Rules match. It was part of the Pit Fighters special that MLW produced. This was really cool. I don't know that I expected it to appeal to my interest as much, but the first thing that caught my eye was it was inspiration from Double Dragon, the video game, the NES video game, because of the logo that they put up on the show. So that caught my interest. But like as I watched the special, I'm finding all these little things I like that I guess you wouldn't say are traditional pro wrestling things. Like obviously you're having a Taekwondo rules match, but what was your experience in that match? Because as far as I know, like this is more in Janai's wheelhouse, but I don't know much about your background as far as mixed martial arts. So what was that experience like kind of playing into uh something that suits her character a little more, if that's the right way to put it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of someone who doesn't back down from like any kind of challenge. So when it got presented to us to do a Taekwondo rules match, I was kind of like, well, that would be like cool and interesting, like that would be different. And I think like the idea visually really stood out to me.
Mhm.
So I was kind of like, let's do it. Personally, I have zero mixed martial arts background. I was joking around with production. I was like, hey, when we do Tale of the Tapes, can we make sure we include that I was a senior cheer captain? Because my background is more with dance and
Mhm.
theater coming into wrestling. So I don't have any sort of fight background that a lot of competitors are like getting more into now and like adding under their arsenal. It definitely is different than pro wrestling. Pro wrestling feels like more methodical, more thought out in what you're doing in terms of, your offense and your defense versus Taekwondo. It's just so fast paced. Something that I was like told going into it was that, like there's moments where it feels like a scramble.
Mhm.
And even though they're fast, you get so blown up in those moments. So thankfully my like cardio and my conditioning is like my one really strong opponent for myself. And I kind of just like maintain what I do for cardio now, which is like I go on 2 mile walks every day. And so I like kept that up. I kept up my diet super clean going in because I didn't want to feel sluggish.
Mhm.
And being in there, like it definitely you can tell like I didn't get blown up, but like after you get out of those scramble bits, your brain is still in that high adrenaline state where you're not thinking like, all right, let me like whip them off and then throw up a boot. Like you don't have that same
It
thought process.
definitely takes you out of your element, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Like in my head, I was like, ooh, I could like just explode her suplex and catch her leg if I want to. And
Mhm.
then you get the moment and you're finally like getting offense in and you're on top. You're like, I don't have time. I gotta maintain
Mhm.
this.
I mean, there are some pro wrestling elements in there. Like at one point, Janai, I think, bicycle kicked the goons at ringside. The contra, I call them the contra goons. But so there are those elements, but like even the commentary team made it a point to just say like, oh, that's not Taekwondo rules, but it's still in the world of pro wrestling. So I like how they allowed these matches to dip their toe, you know, go over the line a little bit without completely breaking it, but it still was a unique environment to compete in. So I would encourage anybody to watch that. It's I believe it's on YouTube and BN. I think everybody has YouTube. So
It was kind of hard as a team. We were all trying to decide like what lines should we have from Taekwondo and what lines should we have from pro wrestling. And we didn't want to offend the audience's intelligence with what we were doing. So I think it came out really well and like really, respectful for the sport of Taekwondo.
you've done quite a bit in your time in MLW, both uh, as a tag team wrestler and singles wrestler. You've been on your own for the past couple of years. Won the featherweight championship, and it was a big deal. You defeated Taya Valkyrie and kind of sent her on her way out of the company. But how do you readjust after having, you know, a name like Taya Valkyrie, like def ending that run that she had, and then going on your own run, and then now kind of being on the outside looking in because of the loss to Janai. Like, how do you see your rest of your 2024 going?
So
Oh,
sorry, my cat um,
let's try. Okay. Uh,
answered for saying no more questions.
do you have a question?
It's a sashimi. Um,
Hi.
it's okay, baby. Um, I know, yeah, it is pretty much a bummer having had such a huge impact of where I took the title from and then losing it to Janai. I will say it does feel more justified having Janai still being the champion because, she is that high level of a competitor.
Mhm.
She's been able to defend her title against women like Hyper Misao and show why she is the women's champion. If anything, it's just made me have to elevate who I am as a wrestler even more and, you know, not giving up on myself and constantly pushing myself to
Mhm.
become a better athlete and become a better performer that much more and stay on her toes. She has it now, but someone at some point is going to take it from her. And I hope it's me. And I'm going to be fighting to make it me, getting any number one contender spot that I can get, getting any title opportunity that I can get.
I mentioned tag team. You tagged with your sister for a while, but it hasn't happened at least for a few years because I know she was dealing with an injury. Has that, like you mentioned, going after a title, like have you guys talked about getting back together, whether it's in MLW or has the focus kind of been on singles?
The focus is on singles for now. I kind of like the idea that like we're the Hardys and the Hardys were always the Hardys, whether they were singles or not. They could go out on their own and do their own things, but you always knew that they were brothers. And so I like having us do our own thing right now, especially since she's coming back from an injury. Like, she's on a roll right now with re-identifying herself and re-finding herself as a competitor in this new era of wrestling. She missed
Hmm.
almost 4 years from the ring. So that's something that like she's gonna have to go out on this journey on her own. And then when no one expects it, that's when sea stars will appear.
I have a couple fun questions. If the inter this is on the internet, but you're from Rhode Island, so it's okay. So
Yeah.
so it's true. That fact on the internet's true. Uh, I just went to Newport. I love it there. But one of the other things that I also found was coffee milk. Is that, do you drink coffee milk? Is it as big as they try to make it out to be?
It is so really weird growing up in school. You know how like with your lunch they give you milk?
Yeah.
One of our options was coffee milk.
Okay.
Like vanilla chocolate or coffee milk. Like
Okay.
elementary school. And like My mom didn't drink coffee. She was huge on like tea and stuff. My dad was the coffee drinker.
Hmm.
Growing up, my sister started off with coffee milk, and then I think by she was 10, she started drinking coffee. Like it was like
Okay.
she was in it. I didn't really like it because I was trying to be more like my mom. I was more like, oh, okay, like green tea, iced tea.
Yeah.
But it is so good. It's
I
just
bought I bought like the bottle of it because I was like what is it? And then I've been like reluctant to drink it, but I'm just thinking like if you're used to coffee, but like 25% coffee and like 75% milk, I forget what they call, is it like an Americano or something? Like one of those like normal coffee drinks?
it's more like latte or macchiato style.
Yes, something like that. Like I'm thinking it'll be along like it would be close to that, so
It's super
I'm
sweet.
open to it.
It's good for like if you're someone who likes drinking coffee throughout the day, but you're trying to like decrease your caffeine consumption, then you can enjoy
Yeah.
the taste of it. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, anything else you want to plug or promote?
Yes, I have a couple appearances with Limitless Wrestling that's up in Bangor, Maine. And then I do have my own promotion, Pro Wrestling Grind, that's in East Hampton, Massachusetts, which is where I currently live in. It's actually Whoville. We have the Grinch's Mountain.
Okay.
If you're ever in the area, definitely check out Mount Tom because that's the Grinch's Mountain.
How like does it because I'm not familiar with it. Are you saying like they used it for like inspiration or it just kind of like was like a local thing that took on?
Dr. Seuss is from Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Him there. So he got the inspiration for the Grinch's Mountain from Mount Tom. And then
Okay.
he decided that the town of East Hampton, which is underneath the mountain, was Whoville.
Okay.
So it's if you ever go through here, we literally have two streets and that's our downtown.
Okay. I will be headed back up there probably next summer, so I'll have to make it put it on my list.